our team, our community. This is CondorsTown, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
I promise you did not oversleep by a day. Condors connection a little earlier this week. What's up? It's Erik Fox from American 95.3. Other side, the split screen. My brother from another mother is Ryan Holt from the Big Show Condors. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, it's Monday. We're getting ready for a Tuesday morning game. So, things are busy.
Let's go and jump into it like we always do. We always talk about the parent organization first. Let's go and talk about the Edmonton Oilers, where, we let's be blunt, we had some doom and gloom talk at the start of the year, but it's kind of turned around a little bit, winning 7 in the last series here, and moving to 500 for the league. What are we seeing?
Yeah, they're back. Like I said they would be, back when you were all doom and gloom and, Ducks are winning the cup and order the ring.
Oh, I never said that.
That's what I heard. Again, it might be the illness kicking in over here in CondorsTown, but 7 straight wins. Last night was great. Calvin Pickard, who's been up there for the last couple of weeks, gets thrown into the fire a little bit. Maybe an unexpected start. I mean, they could have kept rolling with Stuart Skinner. They basically played every other day here for the next couple of weeks, but Pickard got the start yesterday. It was terrific. He stopped 26, against a very good and very offensive New Jersey Devils team, and ended up being the first star as well, too. So great to see him have success. He might be my fantasy football matchup, too, in the first round of the playoffs next week, too. So, there's no friends this time of year, and I'm glad he's enjoying things in Edmonton, but, I might have to take him down.
Let's go and talk about it. I mean, start of the year, I mean, we were expecting a lot. And they are showing up now. I'll say that bluntly. But what is clicking now that maybe we just were wheels spinning in the mud at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, they're 1 point back of where they were a year ago. It just doesn't feel like that because they obviously had a 2-9-1 start. They had a coaching change. They had a $5 million goaltender who's now playing in Bakersfield. I mean, things are not how they drew things up back in September. But that said, they've been terrific here over the last, little while, and 7 straight wins. And that's what they've been able to do. And you're frozen. Yep. That's you. Yep. You're back.
That's what happens with the internet, on a Monday. That's why we don't do these on Mondays anymore.
It's not CondorsTown. I switched.
No, that was completely Energy Town. So we're not living up to our name today.
But yeah,
all right.
They're only a point back of where they were, a year ago. 2-9-1 last year, or to start the season, they had the coaching change. Jack Campbell comes to Bakersfield. It's not how they drew it up, but at the end of the day, they're still where they were last year, and where they were last year was basically a couple of games from the Stanley Cup Finals. So they're right back in it. Yes, they dug a hole, and they can't have another slip up like that, but the way they're playing, I don't see how they're going to have a slip up. This is the team that we knew was there and was going to come out eventually. And, fortunately it's come out, right after a bad start.
Well, when you got a streak of 7 in a row, that's not a bad thing to be in right now, especially as, we start heading into more the Christmas time and the transition as, we're quick. It seems like how insane that we are approaching a halfway point of a season already a little bit here.
Yeah, you're approaching the halfway point. We've barely hit the quarter pole here in CondorsTown, so it's been a little strange.
Well, I love your transition because it helps me a lot because I was trying to figure out how to transition. So here we go. CondorsTown. Obviously, we're talking about why we're here today. We'll talk about tomorrow's game in a moment here. Let's talk about what happened this past weekend. We had that ping pong thing where we go one place and they come to us with the rain. Did do a split on that series. What were you seeing out there?
Yeah, both teams won on the road, went down in Ontario and thought played a pretty good game. There was a ton of penalties on Friday night, and the team was able to persevere and had back-to-back games where we scored 6 goals, which is terrific. We talked about the Oilers offense needing to kind of hit their stride. The Condors offense needed to as well, and we scored 20 goals in our last 5 games, so that's a positive. The team played okay on Saturday. I don't think it was their best game of the year, but that said, you're up 1-0 going into the second. Ontario really hasn't had much, and the Reign get a power play goal and they score on the next shift, and now Ontario is able to assert their game. So I think Ontario's played well this year, so you get a split against them. That's okay. Big one on Tuesday morning tomorrow against Colorado, and then off to Coachella Valley. It's another week where you can start to separate yourself because the games are going to start picking up. It's 3 straight 3-game weeks after this, and then it's a 4-game week right after that. So we've got like 4 or 5 games in hand on just about the entire league. That all ends basically by the time we get back from Colorado in mid-January.
Well, let's going to talk about. I want to jump back to one thing you were talking about, where how many penalties were on Friday. How important it is for a team to keep their minds in the game. I mean, it can be very frustrating when you're playing a lot of 5-on-4 hockey.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but it also shortens who you're playing, right? Like not everyone plays on the power play. Not everyone kills penalties. So there's probably 6 forwards who do neither, and then there's probably 1 or 2 defensemen who only are on one side of the ledger, whether they're on the power play or the penalty kill. So when you have to kill off 6 or 7 penalties in one period, and you also have 3 or 4 power plays, well, now that shortens the amount of time that someone else can play to about 2 minutes in the period. And you're not just going to throw different guys out just to throw different guys out. So it definitely upsets the flow of the game. It upsets the rhythm of the game, and some guys don't get as much ice time as they are normally accustomed to if there wasn't so many power plays. And the way the Condors play 5-on-5 is our bread and butter.
Right.
For my money, we're one of the best 5-on-5 teams in the league. We didn't give up a 5-on-5 goal on Friday. We gave up 1 on Saturday. So you give up 1 5-on-5 goal in 2 games, you're going to win a lot of hockey games over the course of the year. And we got the split this weekend.
I want to talk about that just a little further because I know you're not a coach, obviously, but
I'm definitely not a coach.
How do you keep the frustration when you're getting a lot of 5-on-4 hockey to not let that frustration turn into even more penalties when you let that frustration just cross over there?
Yeah, it's tough. It's there's a fine line, and whether it's a tight official, whether it's an opponent that kind of gets under your skin. I thought the Condors actually did a pretty good job of it on Friday, even though there were a lot of penalties on both sides. I thought they did a pretty good job at managing the game. But yeah, it takes away everyone's rhythm. It takes away everyone's flow. You're not going through a normal game. This Condors team wants to run 4 lines, run it 5-on-5. And I mean, honestly, if there was no power plays or penalties in the game, I think the Condors would take that over anybody. Some teams rely on their power play. Some teams rely on being able to score, a goal or 2 on their power play. The Condors don't need that to be successful. Where our 5-on-5 numbers are incredible, and it's just got to stay that way.
Let's go talk about the game tomorrow, which is the unique game every single year. It's our field trip game, where instead of when the sun's down, it's a little bit after the sun's gone up. 10:30 in the morning, puck drop is happening as we take on Colorado, which is a team that is on a tear right now.
Yeah, the Eagles are a good team. We kind of figured they would be. They're better at home than they are on the road. That environment in Loveland is a tough place to go. So they're a little bit of a different team on the road. And again, you get them at 10:30 in the morning. They've got to travel. It's it's definitely, if you're looking at it from a schedule standpoint, this is one that would favor the Condors in that aspect. It's a Colorado team that I don't think is as offensive as years past. Tanner Caro's an elite forward. Riley Tufte's having a really good year. He was in Dallas or Austin last year. And then they have Brad Hunt, former Condor, on the back end, who is as good of an offensive defenseman as you're going to find in the league and can run a power play like anybody in the AHL. So, it's a tough opponent on a Tuesday. 2 teams that are, still jockeying for position here. 2 teams that I think thought they would be a little higher up in the standings. Condors are a little bit lower just because we haven't played any games. Colorado's there because, they haven't played as well on the road. So, an important game, 2 points on the line, and starts a long road trip for Colorado.
Let's go and talk about the game on Saturday against Coachella, which is a team in which we took down as game number 1 of the season kicked off, but a team that's been kind of back and forth a little bit, but right now they seem to be doing pretty well. What's the prep for Coachella on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, they've taken the last, 2 against us, right? And we led on Teddy Bertos tonight. Weren't able to close them out. They've come in here twice and won, and we won, down there on opening night, as you mentioned. Coachella is a team that, hasn't found their game at home. I think they're like 2-7 at home, and they're 9-1 on the road. It's crazy, but that's the way it's happened for them this year. They're going through it right now. Seattle is banged up. I think they just lost Chris Drieger or Philip Grubauer for a while. Chris Drieger went up. Their backup netminder is not as good. He did come in here and beat us though on Teddy Bear Toss night. We weren't very good. So between that, a couple of forwards got recalled. This is stuff that they didn't have last year. Seattle, I don't think got hurt once. I don't think there was one call up all year. You're starting to see it now with Coachella Valley. So they're going to be tested. Shane Wright's been good for them. Obviously the first round pick, and he's a good player at this level, and he's still trying to get to the NHL, and it's going to be a good test this weekend. But again, Coachella is another team that probably thought that they'd be a little higher. Probably used to especially the way they got off to a good start again this year. Hey, it's us in Calgary again, and we'll just roll it back. But they're going to be in for one here the next couple of weeks because as we know, when you don't have your number one netminder, when you don't have your number one defenseman, when you don't have your number one forward, that's when you really got to start making some hay and figuring out, what kind of team you are, not just, the types of players you have.
So going to talk about the game tomorrow. It's going to be a packed house with a lot of kids for the field trip game. Are tickets still available? I know we were talking last week that there's not very much.
Yeah, there's no kids tickets available, so they'll be packed. But there's an adult section. We put you right in the middle, and you can all get into the club room as well too if you want to avoid all the kids. But yeah, we have a full concession stands, full alcohol lineup. So if you want to take a little bit of a business lunch, if you want to take an early break from work or knock off a couple hours, or maybe you don't go to work until later, it's a cool game for some people to attend, that might not get a chance to attend, it's a lot of fun. So special ticket prices, $30 downstairs, $15 upstairs. So the $30 are normally $45 seats in the middle. So big discount there. And then obviously the $15 anywhere upstairs, but $30 downstairs, you get to enjoy the club room. I mean, that's a bargain. So should be a lot of fun and hopefully a great game early in the morning.
And let's talk about, first of all, how do you get tickets?
Bakersfieldcondors.com. Box office will be open, and it's ready to roll.
And let's talk about Saturday, the away game. How do people check it out?
AHL TV. We'll get it going. I'm just looking. That's a 6:00 start. I thought it was 7, but it's 6:00 in Coachella Valley. That's even better. Perfect.
Acrisure Arena.
Acrisure Arena. We'll be there. Yeah, Friday night off in Palm Springs. Whatever will we do? But yeah, it's should be a good one. We always play. I think we're the only team outside of Calgary with a winning record against Coachella Valley. So, we play them tough. They play a tough style of game. So our styles of play seem to match up well. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
We'll enjoy it, and we'll, of course, next Tuesday, back to our regular time, Tuesday, 10 a.m., as once again we do our Condors Connection every single week. Get you caught up on all things CondorsTown. On the right side of your screen is Ryan Holt from your Bakersfield Condors. My name is Erik Fox, the left side of the screen from Energy 95.3. And, of course, we are your Condors Connection because that's what we do with B-Town. Baker Birds, let's get some W's on the board, and we'll talk again next week, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you next time with Energy 95.3 and your